Ever thought a chicken in a suit could run a corporation? Welcome to the Misinterpretation game, our whimsical game show that takes the concept of out-of-context hilarity to a whole new level. Here's the deal. Our contestants are presented with wildly out-of-context statements, and their job is to guess what on earth could have led to that statement. It's a game of imagination, wit, and some truly wild leaps of logic. And oh, the contestants. Let's meet them. First up, we have Barry, a tax accountant who once tried to claim a pet goldfish as a dependent. Next, we have Susan, a librarian who is convinced that her library's books come alive at night. And finally, meet Gary, a truck driver who swears he saw Bigfoot on the highway last Wednesday. Without further ado, let's dive headfirst into the realm of the ridiculous. Scene script. Round 1, the work email. Contestant number 1, your clue is, the elephant is in the room. The classic phrase that's been the source of many a misunderstanding. Now, what could this possibly mean? Our contestant, with a twinkle in his eye, leans into the microphone. I imagine an actual elephant in an office, causing all sorts of chaos. Picture this, the elephant, let's call him Bumbo, toppling cubicles with a swish of his tail, sending papers flying like a snowstorm in July. The office workers are scrambling, some trying to save their precious coffee mugs, others making a valiant effort to capture the moment for the gram. The boss, a man of few words but many expressions, is frozen in disbelief, his toupee askew. Meanwhile, our brave intern, fresh out of college and full of ambition, thinks this is some sort of initiation ritual. With a mop in one hand and a bucket in the other, he steps forward, ready to tame the office elephant. But Bumbo, being an elephant, is more interested in the giant pot of coffee brewing in the corner. With a trumpet of delight, he makes a beeline for it, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. And let's not forget about the office gossip, who's convinced that this is some sort of metaphorical team-building exercise. She's already composing a lengthy email about the experience, complete with a morale-boosting interpretation of Bumbo's coffee preferences. The host bursts into laughter. An office safari, how novel. I can see it now. Surviving Bumbo, a guide to workplace wildlife. I must say, that's one way to interpret the elephant is in the room. Remember folks, this is all just speculation. We'll reveal the true context later in the show. Now let's see what's next. Scene script. Round 2, the misleading text. Contestant number 2, your message reads, he's eating the car. Now here's a text that could drive anyone to the brink of confusion. Our second contestant, ever the imaginative soul, revs up their creative engine and takes us on a detour to Tinseltown. Right, they begin. So I'm picturing a movie set. We're talking big-budget Hollywood production. And the star of our show? A gargantuan, car-munching monster, straight out of your wildest nightmares. This creature, folks, is not your garden-variety Godzilla. Oh no, we're in the realm of carnivores here. The audience titters nervously, their laughter punctuated by gasps of incredulity. Even our host can't resist a chuckle, their eyes twinkling with amusement. But our contestant is unfazed, their story gathering momentum like a runaway freight train. The director yells, "Action!" and our monster on cue lunges towards the shiny, unsuspecting vehicles. It chomps down on a sleek convertible, the crunch of metal and the squeal of tires echoing through the set. The crew watches in horror, their jaws dropping faster than the monster's next car meal. The audience is now in stitches, their laughter echoing through the studio. The host wipes a tear from their eye, their chuckles threatening to derail the contestant's elaborate tale. But our contestant is undeterred, their imagination running as wild as the car-eating monster in their story. I mean, who needs popcorn when you can snack on a sports car, right? They conclude, their punchline sending waves of laughter through the audience. The host, catching their breath, finally manages to interject, "A car-eating monster, huh? All right, let's digest that and move on." Their words, though lighthearted, carry a hint of relief. After all, who knew what our imaginative contestant would cook up next in this misinterpretation game? But that's just it, isn't it? Without context, our imaginations run wild, often leading us down some truly hilarious paths. Scene script. Round 3, the overheard phone call. Contestant number 3, your call ends with, "I can't believe you'd fry that." And just like that, our third contestant is thrown into the deep end. Imagine, if you will, a cooking show. The lights, the cameras, the action. The host, a flamboyant character with a flair for the dramatic, is about to reveal his piece de resistance. But wait, our contestant interjects. What's this? He's not reaching for a succulent chicken or a juicy steak. No, he's lunging for something else entirely. The live audience gasps as our contestant continues to weave his tale. He's got his hands on a shoe, a rubber duck, a mobile phone. The host, our contestant imagines, is not one to back down from a challenge. With a glint in his eye and an oversized spatula in hand, he declares, "We're going to make this work." The audience roars with laughter. Can you imagine? A choux soufflé, a rubber duck roast, a mobile phone fritter. Our contestant continues. The host tosses the unexpected ingredient into a sizzling pan. The audience watches, wide-eyed, as smoke billows from the pan, filling the set with a smell that's part burning rubber, part electrical fire. But it's not over yet, our contestant exclaims. The host, ever the optimist, remains undeterred. He flips the shoe or the duck or the phone with a flourish, sending sparks flying and causing the audience to erupt in laughter. The host and audience are in stitches as our contestant concludes his wild guess. A cooking show disaster indeed. The absurdity of the situation is the perfect seasoning for a hearty laugh. A culinary catastrophe? Interesting, the host remarks, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. Now let's reveal the truth. Now for the big reveal. Contestants, prepare for a reality check. And so, our intrepid contestants brace themselves for a hearty dose of reality. Let's see how they fare when the truth comes knocking. First up, we have our office warrior, who might have been hoping for an actual elephant to spice up his 9 to 5. Alas, the elephant in question was just a metaphor for an uncomfortable issue during a board meeting. How anticlimactic. A chuckle escapes him as he shakes his head, a mix of relief and mock disappointment on his face. Oh, the drama of corporate life. Next, we have our monster movie enthusiast. She was all set for a creature feature, with beasts munching on cars like popcorn. But the reality? A toddler pretending to eat a toy car. She bursts into laughter, amused at her wild imagination. Who knew a child's playtime could be misinterpreted as a scene from a horror flick? And finally, we have our cooking show contestant, who envisioned a culinary disaster of epic proportions. But the reality was a friend, aghast at someone attempting to dry a phone with a hairdryer. He doubles over in laughter, his guess a far cry from the actual scenario. It seems like common sense isn't as common as we'd like to think. As the laughter subsides, the contestants share a glance, a shared camaraderie born from their shared misinterpretations. They've journeyed into the realm of the absurd, and they've come out the other side, a little wiser and a lot more amused. Well, that was a wild ride. Remember, context is everything. Or is it? It seems like our assumptions, while often misguided, can lead us down some pretty hilarious paths. So next time you find yourself jumping to conclusions, take a moment to enjoy the ride. After all, who knows where your imagination might take you? For our final challenge, we're going live. Contestants, get ready for a rapid-fire misinterpretation. Now grab your helmets and fasten your seatbelts, folks, because we're about to dive headfirst into the comedy chaos. Contestants, you'll be bombarded with out-of-context statements, faster than a hiccuping hyena. Your task? To make wild guesses on the spot. Remember, the more outrageous, the better. The first statement is here. The chicken is wearing a tuxedo. What could it possibly mean? A poultry-themed prom? A bird-brained secret agent? Or maybe just a farmer with a flair for fashion? And here comes another one. The moon is made of cheese. A space picnic? An astronomical fromage festival? Or just a lactose-intolerant astronaut's worst nightmare? Ha, you've got to love the comedy of errors that unfolds when we're left guessing. And that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this laughter-filled misinterpretation journey. Until next time, remember, life is a lot funnier when you're guessing.